So, we have just had the decision, and we are now at the. We are now at the.
Chris Bosh just like freaking screamed like a raptor.
I knew that's what you were laughing about. I knew it. I was like, why are you laughing? I was like, oh, it's definitely because Chris Bosh is going like this. But fucking. This is. So apparently, they had this stage from a concert that was there for like a weekend, or it was there like three total nights, and this was the one off night in between. So the stage was just there for those guys, and they used the stage. And according to Chris Bosh, this was one of those, we didn't ask for this. They were like, listen, we're doing this. There's 20,000 people in this building. And they're like, all right.
Seeing this right now during the times that we're in, all I'm thinking is like, Rona, why are you touching them so much?
But
this is how you know D-Wade was the leader. Look, you see, he's bringing them in. He's the one facilitating it. Okay. I'm being a hater.
No, but hold on. if not for this moment, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure there's hate, but they set themselves up for such insane criticism by, like, if they had just done this and been like, we're gonna try and bring a championship here, we're gonna do our best to win, we're gonna win games, I think it would have been okay. If they had gotten out of the door without, like, if they had gotten out the exit with LeBron not saying, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, and making the crowd lose their minds, and then making Skip Bayless's head explode, I think this run in total isn't looked at with nearly as much controversy as we will get into.
Yeah.
But this had not happened before. Just so I can set the stage.
Yeah.
I have a question. Because, like, media day is a thing. So was that, like, their media day, or was that extra?
But this is the one that everyone remembers preceding that season. They also did an interview with Rachel Nichols right before the season where they were talking about how they've been working on defense nonstop and, you know, all that kind of shit. But let me introduce you to the cast of characters first before I get into the schedule. We have the big three, right? LeBron James, obviously the reigning 2-time MVP of the league. We've gone at length into how he got those MVPs, and I don't need to go much more into him. Let me talk about his friends. Dwayne Wade. Before LeBron got to Miami, Dwayne Wade was coming off a first-team All-NBA selection, and the year before that, leading the league in scoring.
Yeah, and he had just had a crazy series against the Celtics. I think he dropped like 46, and I remember that.
But that's when that was the first round, right? Let's go back.
Yeah, I remember. That was the first time I really like watched D-Wade, like, because, you know, obviously if you're not in the playoffs as much, I'm not watching you as much, and I was really only caring about Kobe and LeBron at that time. I only cared about LeBron to hate. But with Wade, I liked watching the Celtics because obviously I had a rivalry with being a Laker fan. We had a rivalry, so I wanted to see them fail. And when I saw Wade drop buckets and like look at his hand, I remember him looking at his hand like, oh my God, I'm so hot. Like, it's so hot. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Wade in this series, 33 a game. Much like we saw with LeBron James. Not a lot of help, but a ton of production.
That was Jordan-esque right there. That series, look at that. Like, that's a Jordan-esque kind. That's what Jordan did for his career in the playoffs.
if he had shot a little better from free throw, it would be even more impressive. But even 42 minutes, 33 points a game against this Celtics team.
Man, my man dropped 56% from the field, 40% from three, and my man had to throw shade on his free throw percentage. Damn, that's crazy. That was so unnecessary.
That's what I'm here for. But I bring this up. The reason why I wanted to go back and look at that real quick is because he got a phone call from LeBron James before the decision, basically saying, "What do you want to do?" And Wade's like, "I want to fucking win. I'm tired of going home in the first round every fucking year. Every year this guy was going home in the first round. Like, if we go to his playoffs per game, he's got like single digits every single time before LeBron gets there, except for obviously the year with Shaq when they won the championship when he was young, right?
Yeah.
So he knows what that's like. He just wants to get back to that. Trying to get down to his playoff numbers. There we go. So look, 4 games, 7 games, 5 games, 3 years basically since the finals, he has seen nothing but the first round and exits from that. So that's where Wade's coming from. But first team All-NBA, one of the best 5 players in the league, no doubt about it.
Yeah, for sure. He was top 3 to me.
A lot of people felt that way.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say he wasn't. I'm just saying, like, it was a while ago at this point. I don't want top 5.
For sure. Like top 5 or some shit. No, I'm sorry.
Because he was the first team All-NBA, top 5 for sure. Chris Bosh, one of the most forgotten about players in NBA history.
Makes sense.
It's a perennial loser in Toronto, but in an era where big men were not doing shit, right? That end of 2000s after Shaq, right? He's getting 25 and 10 basically, or 22 and 10.
I was going to say, my man added extra points and shit. Yo, not going to say anything though, but this is definitely one of those guys that we would never do a legacy breakdown on.
Oh, man.
Nothing to talk about.
Oh, you just crushed. What if I was like, yo, Chris Bosh wants to do the show, but he will do a legacy breakdown with us? You would be like, no.
If we do it someone else's legacy, that'll be awesome. Like, he can get some perspective on like, oh, I was there, like, but I ain't talking about his legacy. What the fuck we gonna talk about?
Fuck that.
We can talk about like, how did it feel with Kobe dropping 81?
Listen, if Delonte West wanted to come on our show and do a legacy breakdown about Delonte West, I will hear about him and LeBron's mom and everything. Okay? It'll be great.
But do a legacy breakdown on Delonte West though? Like, I'm not trying to do that. I'm definitely not. It's gonna be like a 20-minute show max. And no, actually, it might be an hour, and it's a majority of what happened between you and LeBron's mom. It's gonna be like 55 minutes of it for sure out of the hour.
But Chris Bosh, All-Star selection, perennial All-Star, one of the best big men in the league at the time. Fair?
And he looks like a dinosaur.
No, I don't. I did not care about Chris Bosh at the time. But
well, look,
at the time, it was a big deal.
He was probably one of 2 or 3 guys averaging 20 and 10 in the league this past year. Like, I'm almost positive of that.
No, I'm sure you're right, but I'm just like, he was not a top anything to me. Like
David Lee, Zebo. He was in there, man. And when
Zach Randolph, I would have rather Zach Randolph than that man.
Yeah, he's 6. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just those guys and Dwight, wherever Dwight is. But I don't know if Dwight even got to 20 points yet.
Dwight's right
Dwight's up here. He's up.
Yeah.
But it's because I was looking for Chris Bosh. But I bring this up to say, when they came together, they were considered 3 of the top 15 best players in the league.
Yeah. Sure.
Got one. All right, so fucking.
I'm just like, to me, Bosh is just like I never cared that much with him. I was more so when I remember me and my friends were like, damn, Bron and Wade are together. Like, it was like, oh, it's a big 3 kind of like Bosh is alright, but we were like Bron and Wade though, like.
That's such hate. He was so. Not only was he critical to like the court stuff, but like he was so critical off the court, especially considering all the interviews I've listened to him. Like, he was definitely the glue guy for a lot of that.
No, I'm not saying what he did for them. What I'm talking about, like, at that time, what we were thinking. Like, were you looking at Chris Bosh like, oh yeah, like, damn, like, that's a crazy. Like, I was just
I looked at it as a legitimate big three. Yeah, he was definitely the third option, but yeah, I looked at it as legitimate big three. You had three guys averaging 20, the lowest of them averaging 24 points a game. So you had three guys averaging at least 24 points a game. That's a big three if I've ever seen one. If KG, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce coming in averaging basically the same, right? Be probably less. That was a big three.
I don't know. I just look at it as like Bosh was on a trash ass team. Like that is the same shit with Kevin. Like Kevin Love, I guess Bosh is better than Kevin Love to me.
And I think Chris Bosh better than Kevin Love.
Yeah, I agree. But at the time, I thought Kevin Love was better than Bosh. So I agree. All right, I'm shitting on. I give you that love.
LeBron
I give you that love, Bosh, that you were better than Kevin Love. All right, whatever.
LeBron had 31. Right, I remember this game being sloppy as shit. That Celtics game,
that first game.
But he had 30. Yeah, he had 31 in the first game. Right, they came out. They were shit to start.
I remember the one play that I always remember about that game is when Rondo was like going up, and it was a fast break, and Bron was coming behind him, and there was another guy trailing, and Rondo was making it seem like he was going to go off for the layup.
So this one where he went behind the back.
Behind the back.
That's one of my favorite plays ever.
I was like, let's fucking go. Fuck these niggas.
I was so hyped. Because I remember that was when we were in college. And I remember sitting in like the common area, just like being the biggest Celtics fan. I was so excited because I was like, we can get them. It's the beginning.
Oh, yeah,
they don't know shit
like
about
in college. I was like, I wasn't in college at that time, but
they started out basically 500 for the first month or so.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. They really kicked off what they would become with this first game, where Miami goes to Cleveland and LeBron returns to Cleveland. Right.
This is some real Brady Buck shit. Like, the Brady Bucks copied this whole shit. Like, I was ass in the beginning. Like, Brady looked trash.
Dude, to everyone our age or younger, this is the blueprint for how this goes from this point forward in history. Like, if you make a super team, you're probably gonna have a rough start, and then you'll gel because the talent will
figure itself
outweigh everything. It will figure itself out.
I mean, it's logical. It's very logical. Like, it's not gonna click right away. I mean, besides even the Warriors, like when they whatever. I'm going to a whole different point, but yeah, you're right.
LeBron, 38 in his return, was booed every time he touched the ball. Right, every time he touched the ball, he was booed out of the building.
That's a fact.
But he embraced the villain for the first time because he was very uncomfortable with that. And he would go on to say after this season, like in an interview, I think it was with Rachel Nichols again, but he said, yeah, it was really uncomfortable playing that villain and being like it was the first time in my whole life that I was not liked, which is kind of crazy. And it's true. Everyone outside of Miami, there was a ranking of athletes, and he was number 6 in the entire United States of most hated athletes in America, after being probably in the top 5 of the most beloved months before that.
Did you see that they just insulted that man with Justin Bieber? 2 people were holding up signs saying, "Who needs LeBron if you got Bieber fever?"
Yo, when you do this thing, could you put who was the other 5? Because I want to know who was more hated than him at this point.
I will. It'll be up. It'll definitely be available because I saw it when I was doing my research. So I'll just find it. I'll put it up. But you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, he was definitely hated as fuck. Like, I remember that for sure. And I was loving that shit. As a pure hater at that time, I was loving that. I was like, yeah, fuck him.
It was, yeah. Also, LeBron, as someone who I just rooted for the Celtics that entire era, LeBron was my arch rival at every turn. And what do you call it? When he went to join the Big Three, I was like, that bastard is just copying what we're doing in Boston. Okay. And he's doing it not at a point where he's out of his prime. He's doing it at his athletic peak.
Yeah. I actually want to, this could be a topic for the future too, but I feel like every major superstar in NBA history, like those top ones, they were always, obviously besides Larry Bird, fuck you, Chuck.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for that.
I love Chuck.
Nah, he just scared me with his ugly ass fucking Ninja Turtle face. And but
Dwight wants to do this in Cleveland too.
Yeah, but every like superstar, like they always had to go through the Celtics. Like that was like their war that they had to go through. Like Kobe, freaking Jordan, even Jordan in the beginning, Magic, Kareem.
Yeah.
Obviously Magic and Kareem go together. Like all these like superstars. Like obviously because that just means that the Celtics were great for a very long time.
Yeah,
but
it just means that they're.
I mean, when you're the second greatest franchise of all time, like
oh, okay, yeah, You can't tell the story of the league without the people behind you and the people behind me.
That's a fact. Yeah.
So I'll take it. Also, Vince Carter, he's there. You can't tell without him either. You might be.
You can definitely tell the story without Vince Carter.
Definitely.
No offense, Vince, but you just had like one really great dunk contest, and yeah. But I digress.
Here's why I brought this game up to begin with. Obviously, LeBron was booed. It was a huge game, but it's about what happened after this game, because this was game 3 of a 12-game stretch where they were basically putting a hurting on most teams and doing a lot of things defensively. I see a couple of 70s in here from the opponent, a lot of 80s. Like they're playing defense. The key to the Miami Heat in this era was we are going to cuff and we are going to catch lobs in transition.
Yeah.
That was the key to success. And we are getting everything inside. Absolutely everything. Wade and LeBron are pounding the inside. Bosh is there for a little mid-range. And then they got guys shooting on the outside. Mario Chalmers, guys like that.
Yeah. And I think that kind of was the big, and obviously because it's the beginning of their structure of how they were going to build this dynasty that they created. But I think that was part of what screwed them. Like, because the defense obviously was going to always be great because championship teams play defense, but not having your pivotal offense in the half court and it being relied on so heavily on transition. When it comes to playoff time, you can't really rely on that because there's so much more half court sets. So
that's true. Yeah. And the way they played, they were so not just trying to get on ball steals and shit like that, but trying to pick passes. And we're gonna see that is a common theme throughout this whole thing. Is the best passing teams will give them the most trouble.
Yep.
As we'll see going forward as we enter the postseason. Right? So they finished second, right? Behind the Bulls. One last thing we got to talk about before we get to the postseason is this. Was LeBron railroaded in this MVP vote? So Derrick Rose won a vast majority of the first place votes, right? Bulls finished with 60 wins. Going with what we were talking about in a previous episode with guys getting MVP and being on 60-win teams, right? But it's not that, like, the league's pretty competitive at the top in both conferences right now. You got Magic with Dwight Howard at his apex, right? You got Boston still getting it done. Miami, of course, doing what they did. They they had won 21 of 22 in that stretch.
Didn't Dwight break his? Isn't this the season where Dwight breaks his back, or is it next?
It was
season?
at the end of this season.
It was okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was at the end of the next season.
He didn't play in the playoffs.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Hold on, let me double check by the MVP voting, but I'm pretty sure.
No, Dwight is second in MVP in.
No, I got it because I went.
You're in the,
I know. I did that intentionally. I was looking to see the next year what his stats were. He plays one more year in Orlando, so this isn't the backbreaking season. It's the next season.
Yeah.
So you're right, but still, he's second in MVP voting. This is peak Dwight, right? I don't think he should be second in MVP voting personally, based on record and statistics, right? I think there's a lot of guys in this.
The only thing that makes it tough for Brown, and it's hard because they're remaining consistent, because this has been a consistent thing. Best player, best team.
Right.
That's been consistent. But then also LeBron having another guy averaging 25, 5, and 5 is like you can't. It's hard to give that to him. Like clearly, LeBron at this point, he's becoming one of the he's second best player, probably best player in the world. So,
come on, this is about the point where it gets
it gets close. The only thing is Kobe was on right after this. Kobe had like a bone, not a bone spur. His knee shit went to freak. I'm just saying. Like,
I keep hearing excuses, Dario. Just say the words.
Kobe said it. Kobe said, I was playing on one leg and he felt bad that he couldn't fill that chip. He said that. So
it's cool. He's still got a couple more years of
like that,
relevancy. No matter what, he's still got a few more years of being relevant. However,
yes,
Wade is not broken down at all at this point.
No,
he's playing 37 minutes a game.
Yep.
That's the biggest reason why. Because this will be his last year where he gets to 25.
Yep.
So it's gonna be tough. Like you said, everything that you said, it's very tough to give it to someone when that's happening, and you could just tell that they were making each other better. You know what I mean? Like,
and then not to mention, like, even with that, the Bulls were clearly the best team because they had Derrick Rose, and then also they won 4 more games. Like, it's just.
Well, Derrick Rose was just making magical shit happen from a shot making perspective all year.
Yeah.
Like, I remember he made a layup on Wade and Bron at the same time that year. Like,
yeah.
And he was doing that in every game. He started out the season hitting the game winner on you guys on Christmas, right? Telling you. When it comes to...
I know. He did the floater on fucking Gus.
Oh, wait, that's the next season. No, that's
the season.
That's the season? Oh.
Yeah.
I thought it was the first game of the lockout.
On Pau Gasol, I hated that shit. I was so tight.
Fucking 2011, this Heat era, this is like my prime.
Yeah, I just try to, like, block those things out. Was involved, you know?
But I don't know. I think there's a few guys that deserve MVP. What are Duncan's numbers on this?
I think clearly LeBron is the best player on this list at this point. Because Kobe to me at this point, he's injured. And LeBron still had LeBron obviously had more help, but he just played better this season, obviously.
Yeah.
And but it's just when you have another guy averaging 25 points, you've never seen someone win MVP with another guy on their team averaging 25, especially 25. It's not like he just gave you 25. He's 25, 6, and almost 5. Like,
this is like you're totally right.
Like, Wade is top 10 in MVP voting too. Like
I keep getting stuck on this thought though with Dwight Howard. Like, I'm pretty sure Dwight Howard gets second in MVP vote. Like, he was great at the time, but he's great, like, relatively.
Yeah, but 23 and 14 is no joke though.
Like, I know, but this is like I'm so skeptical. If he plays in the 90s, he's getting 23 and 14.
Oh, obviously not.
Or if he plays, if you move him to now. If you move him to now, bring this guy to now, I think he's probably a little bit better than DeAndre Jordan. Like, he's DeAndre Jordan on a great night.
Oh, I disagree. I think Dwight Howard is.
There's just so much more talent at that
I
position.
I think Dwight Howard is significantly better right now because he's that type of. Remember, he was getting criticized for how he was playing, and that's how they want big men to play right now. Like
they want big men to be able to stretch the floor as well. Look at all the best big men in the league right now.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like the big men of his caliber, I'm thinking of like Clint Capella when he played with Harden in 2018. Like he was perfect for that.
But Clint Capella is 15 and 15. That's my point.
Yeah, exactly. But this dude is going to be 22 and 14. He will probably, if he was playing with Harden at that point, without Harden being an asshole and him being 100% Dwight Howard, he could have gave you this same shit, and he would have been a superstar. With Harden.
The jury will forever be out on Dwight Howard because
Dwight Howard,
was the best center in the worst era for big men.
Yeah. That's a fact. That's a fact. He's definitely
I will always be a skeptic of that.
I don't even think maybe he'd be top 10 in the 90s. Maybe.
That's what I'm saying. Like I just find that super hard to believe, and like even now he maybe get in the top 10, but he would not crack my top 5. Like he's not better than Embiid. He's not better than fucking Joker. He's not better than there's a bunch of guys I could think of that's why.
Are we talking about centers or are we talking about just the front?
I think between him and Karl Anthony Towns, it would be.
Huh?
I think it would be. He would be on the
same
level.
You bug. I'll take a Dwight over Towns any day. I don't give a fuck. Cause I don't give a shit. You wildin' now.
Fuck you, Dwight.
I'm Dwight right now. If that Dwight right now, I would argue that he could be a top 5 center. Right now, power forward center, he'd be like top 7, 8. I don't know, but if we're just talking strictly centers,
he could not guard Giannis. That would be rough. That'd be a rough day at the office for Dwight Howard. But I digress. LeBron was good.
Averaged 4 blocks a game for most of his career. He might be able to hang with Giannis. To be honest.
Yeah.
You tight. That would be hilarious. Him locking up Giannis would be amazing.
You're a fucking troll. As much as I'm a troll for Dwight Howard, you will troll for Giannis.
I don't even like Dwight like that.
When we inevitably do Giannis's legacy breakdown, that's gonna be your corner.
There's not gonna be much to talk about there.
Oh man! Oh boy!
Okay, all right. But 2011 playoffs. He beat the 76ers in the first round pretty easily. Actually, I take that back. Not pretty easily. Most of these games, it came down to fourth quarter, finishing it in the fourth quarter. And you can see, in the box score of a lot of the games that, they're not sure who should be closing the game. One thing I've learned since this point is roles are extremely important in any championship team or on any championship team. And the closer is a role.
Mm-hmm.
So Wade had every right to feel like he should be the closer. You know what I mean? It's his team. LeBron came to him. Whatever. And I don't think LeBron was going to give you any shit about it. But in these games, in the fourth quarter, right, you'll see, and we'll go through each one, but you'll see, it's split up here, a lot of Bosh, a lot of Wade. LeBron's just kind of doing his thing, doing the other things. 0 for 4. Actually, that's a really shitty quarter for everybody there.
But to me, that's kind of strong that he's being aggressive, though. He took the most shots. He has no assists.
I just consider this a fairly even split.
Yeah, true. But I just feel like I normally see if he was being more passive, you'd see him with a couple more assists.
That's true. That's a good point. But we'll go to game 2, right? Dominant win for the Heat. This was their biggest win of the series, and the only real blowout. I don't even know if these guys played in the fourth quarter. Maybe they did because it's a playoff game. But This was also a prime Andre Iguodala. No one will ever. This will be the only time we'll probably get to talk about him.
Oh no.
No,
When we
Golden
talk
State.
about, yeah, Kevin
Oh
Durant.
yeah, I forgot about that.
Curry gets Finals MVP because
I forgot about that completely. Fucking, but look, Bosh, right? Wade, no field goals this time, right? LeBron with 4, dominant win, right? When we get to the Philly win, it's fucking. I looked at all these the other day. I was surprised. So here we go. This time, even split, right? Pretty much.
I mean,
8 points, 8.7 points.
Yeah, but the
Shots.
Yeah,
6 and
6,
7
7.
to 4.
So still, LeBron's kind of taking it, right?
Yeah.
Still, Wade got to the line a bunch of times.
Yeah.
What do you call it? That takes away any field goals. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Seemed like Wade
it's like
had the
6
ball
and 6
the
then,
most.
'cause if you think about it, that's two trips to the line.
Yeah. But I looked at this, so here we go. Wade, 1 of 5, LeBron 4 of 8.
Yeah.
Right? And they lost. And they lost by what? 4? 4. In an 80-80 type game. Ugh. This was
And
always
they lost the lead too. They were
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They did. Philly just took it to them in the 4th. But this was the only game they won in the series. So like how much does it really like but I bring this up to say that this is going to affect them as we go deeper into the playoffs because
what Russ was trying to tell you is you see the cracks in the foundation.
That's the one thing that not necessarily, I don't know if it's cracks in the foundation as much as it's they don't know who's the true closer. Like here, LeBron takes 1 shot in the closeout game. Dwayne Wade, 4 of 9. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the cracks in the foundation.
Yeah, I'm like, but it was
wall.
funny. It's like, no, I'm talking about just basketball. Like,
yeah,
I don't want
analogies don't work in basketball.
I just didn't know. I didn't know if I wanted to say cracks in the foundation because they 1 and 5. Like how much?
No, but you're saying
right
now
it's like a hidden
like
issue,
a solid house that they built. But you're saying in this series, this is where you could see the cracks a little bit, even though it's like a bit it's small. You can still see where the issues are and how they become big issues once the finals come. Because obviously, at the end of the day, still at this point, the West is the better conference. We know that.
This will be that. Fuck that. This entire run, I'm comfortable with that.
Oh yeah. We owe it. That's always been the shit.
Yeah.
LeBron has been going through the East for all his career. And that
was the toughest.
As a Kobe fan, that's what I was using this whole time. And
this was probably the toughest playoffs in terms of toughest conference with that 4 with the Dwight Magic, fucking the Celtics still running hard, and Rondo coming into his prime.
The Pacers series, the
Pacers aren't even here yet.
Too. No, I know, but the years for the Pacers was tough for them too. They went to 7 and so.
But in comparison to like I consider that a downtime for the Eastern Conference. But we'll get to it as we get to that. That point. Okay. There are. It is a flawed system. You can kind of see it. So now this is something that I didn't even remember. Like they steamrolled Boston the first year.
Yeah, because of his injuries.
Yeah. I totally forgot about this.
KG might have been injured this year, and I think Rondo had a dislocated shoulder or some shit.
Like Garnett played.
Or he dislocated his shoulder in the...
Pierce played. They all played.
Wait, I think Rondo dislocated his shoulder or some shit, and then he was playing through.
Maybe. But they all played, and they all had a bunch of minutes, and they all played significant minutes per game. But I'll check game 5, see if anybody's didn't finish.
I remember that. I remember Rondo injured. And him playing through it was crazy to me.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah, I was about to say, outside of the torn ACL in Boston, he played through fucking everything.
Yeah.
And he's not even at his peak yet. He's gonna get to his peak in the next season, where he's just like he starts carrying them in 2012.
Oh, really?
He starts like you'll see when we look at the numbers from that famous series. You'll see, but they really steamrolled them, and it's not as much of what do you call it? There's not as much indecisiveness in this series.
Rondo didn't play the fourth quarter.
He didn't play the fourth quarter. There you go. You were right.
I don't know. I don't know what the hell happened. But I remember him getting injured. But I mean, it doesn't matter. This is the last game of the series.
Yeah.
Yes, it doesn't even freaking matter. If you're losing in 5, that series is pretty much over.
Yeah, true. And they were I'm sure they were very determined to beat Boston in this first year. But I just totally forgot about this.
Yeah. I'm just like what I said about the Rose thing. You know, like you kind of try to forget about those type of things.
Fucking
the team, you know, fuck that. The only one that I always remembered like deeply is obviously the Dallas series because that shit hurt my heart.
Yeah, but hold on. This is the one thing I wanted to mention. LeBron, this is basically every fourth quarter in this series. He stomps them personally. Like LeBron takes it to him in the fourth quarter in most of these games.
And I could see that. I could see why that would make sense because like Wade's like, yo, get your revenge, bro.
Yeah, no, but this is the interesting part. Wade, 30, right?
God.
And he had, in that closeout game, he had 34. But he didn't close out the game. Like, you had a great Wade series. He had 38 in game 1. Like, he was playing. But LeBron was finishing. So I'm just keeping track of that, especially in this first year, because when we get to the finals, we're going to see some shit.
They were on your ass, boy. Like, if I would, this is the type of shit that, like, I wish I wasn't like a hater at this time, because I would have been appreciating that a little bit more, you know. But you know, sometimes haterade kind of fucks you up.
This is true.
Yeah.
Eastern Conference Finals, Bulls.
Yeah.
1 versus 2, right?
This was shit that
everybody wanted to see.
Yeah, this was shit that made me respect the shit out of LeBron.
Oh, yeah.
Because going into this series, like, Derrick Rose was looking unstoppable. I always thought Derrick Rose, even during the season, while this was happening, all of this shit, I thought Derrick Rose was overrated. Like, maybe I was a hater.
I don't know if everybody did, but I definitely did too.
Yeah, because I'm like, he's not gonna do shit. Like, he's not gonna do shit like against the Heat. Like, I didn't think they would win the series. Like, I was rooting for them, obviously, because I'm obviously rooting against LeBron more than anything. And
yeah, he came into this series averaging 30 and 10, basically.
Yeah.
Not bad. Continue.
And when LeBron gets to the point where he's just like, I'm gonna guard him, and he completely locked him up.
So that is the closeout game. That's the one I wanted to talk about.
Yeah. Because I had friends in high school that was like dick eaters, and I was freaking on their ass the next day.
Yep.
Pause. I was just like, yo, y'all suck, dog. I was like, I'm over here rooting for y'all bum ass motherfuckers, and y'all suck. Why is LeBron big ass guarding him and locking him up? Like, I was tight.
LeBron 45 minutes played, 28, 11, 6, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Stat sheet stuffer supreme.
He was a better point guard than Derrick Rose at that shit too.
Derrick Rose, 25 points on 29 field goals.
Mm-hmm.
In the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, as Dario has said, Derrick Rose was ass soup. 6 points, 2 of 9 from the field. LeBron and Wade, both. That's it. They just put it on their back to close it.
So we out here. We about to go to the finals and get smoked.
And they make it to the finals on their very first try. The infamous 2011 NBA Finals. The Mavericks, led by Dirk Nowitzki, who was on a fucking tear this postseason. An absolute tear. I'm pretty sure he shot 50, 40, 90 for the entire playoffs. I'm going to check that now.
Yeah, there was a freaking point in the playoffs where he wasn't fucking missing free throws at all. I remember that was like
he was a straight savage. Most of these games.
Literally, this to me is the greatest playoff run ever. Not because he kicked the shit out of my team's ass.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, I cried. He made me cry and respect him for just his one season, because after that he was nothing. But he I just gotta throw that shade. Fuck you.
After that, it was nothing. It was nothing. Scum.
This is by far the greatest postseason run by any individual player ever. There's not one player that you can argue. He went through Kobe Bryant.
Yep.
Kevin Durant.
Yep.
And LeBron and Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
Greatest postseason run ever. Who did face in the first round?
The Trailblazers.
Spurs? Oh,
Trailblazers. I think it was Brandon Roy era. Or even, maybe not. Maybe a little bit.
Might have been. I think Aldridge was there, though.
But Dirk.
No, Aldridge wasn't there for that long.
Dirk in the conference finals, 32 a game. Smashing. Right?
Ibaka was getting chewed up. I remember that. Like, it was so bad. No one, and that was like their only hope was Serge Ibaka trying to do something, and it was like nothing.
Yeah, basically. Couldn't have said it better myself. But LeBron, I've yet to show his stats, and I'm going to show them now. I think this is the only game. I think this is the only series in his entire life where he hasn't put up 20 points a game.
It's so sad.
Oh, it's not. It's awesome.
LeBron, 17 points a game, 7 rebounds, 7.
Give my man the 18, man. Let's not kill him like that. Give him the 18. Like, he already. This is the worst thing in his career. We can at least give him the 18. Like, I feel bad.
Wade took a lot more shots, but he basically became the third option if you're talking about shot attempts.
Yeah. And as you heard from the very beginning of this podcast, Chris Bosh was not that good to be a second option. He was easily the third option. 100%. And Bosh, if you ever see this and you look at me and you say, why is this fat boy talking? It's because you want to know why? Because I watched you. You don't compare me to me. You compare me to who you were playing. And you was ass.
There's a couple of
third option, motherfucker.
Hold on. There's a couple of games. There's a couple of parts in this series, right? Dallas comes back in game 2, right? Dallas comes back in game 2. 95-93. And Dirk basically takes over, right?
He puts him in where I was telling you before.
It was Dirk and Jason Terry, right?
Yeah.
I remember Jason Terry had spots on LeBron, and he was just destroying LeBron.
Bro, JJ Barea had spots on LeBron. They were literally just running zone. And all right, so now to get into the nitty gritty of it. So them being so focused on defense and transition, when you ran a zone on them where they didn't have 3-point shooters. The way you get out of a zone is through 3-point shooters. Yeah. If you don't have 3-point shooters,
just elite shooting in the pockets of the zone.
Yeah, exactly. You just gotta exactly. And you just had a lot of slashers, and you had Bosh, who was a spot up shooter, really. So he's not
yet a spot up shooter. He's not yet a spot up shooter. He's not taking any threes. He's taken 10 threes in the entire playoffs.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay. But
not even at that point yet.
I think they were really smart, and a lot of people just didn't. It was like we were so caught up on how, like, they're the big three, like they're like the greatest big three we've ever seen or whatever.
Yep.
So a lot of people just couldn't believe that Dallas could beat them. Like,
and Dirk had the flu.
Oh yeah, and that
he did. He had the flu.
I'm telling you, I told you he put him where. Yeah. And
damn, Daddy
every game he did it. He was not playing with them, and I was just I would never have thought that I was gonna be rooting for him. Like, cause I guarantee it, if D Rose won, that series somehow, I would have been rooting for Chicago because fuck Dallas.
Yeah.
Because I was on some shit. But
Yeah.
I was rooting for Kevin Durant like crazy. He couldn't
Whoever was gonna beat them because they beat the Lakers.
Yeah, exactly. But then once this happened, I was like, you know what? I'm sorry, man. Like, I ain't about to see LeBron win a championship. I'd rather see Dirk win this shit. He already beat my guy. He got to win now. I'm like, you beat the champs, you got to that's it. But they played really smart though. Like, they really locked up. And it was easy to stop him when you think about it. Because if he wasn't shooting, we running the zone, you clogging up LeBron, and then LeBron playing so passive and pussy, like it made it super easy for him.
So at the end of when they went up a little bit in this game, and they thought they were going to take a 2-0 lead.
Yeah.
They started talking shit to Dirk and like outwardly being braggadocious, and that's what apparently inspired Dirk to get to, like, because like I said, he was sick apparently. Yeah. And man, fucking, I will never understand this series. It's just so strange. Everything that happens in this series. First off, you really don't hear about LeBron talking shit like that. Like,
maybe
I think
because he learned his lesson the one time he talked shit.
He really wasn't. Yeah, like that was the like.
But remember, he was embracing his role as a villain at this point.
So that's what he would say to Rachel Nichols after the season, is that he felt like he let his talk outshine his game, and not the game outshine his talk. And I think he's referring to shit like this, where
he's a puss.
Hey, it's the worst. It is the biggest black mark on any major superstar in basketball. I don't know how much worse you can say. I don't know how much bigger or more important you can say than that.
The series in general, you saying?
Yes.
Because my whole thing is, in reality, like, I think the whole season made it that. Because honestly, there's been superstars with worse performances than him.
Yeah.
Like, Larry Bird had an 8-point game, and freaking
so we're about to watch right now. Speaking of 8-point games,
yeah,
we're about to watch the second.
Whatever his name is, freaking won Finals MVP. Like, they're sure they won a championship, but Larry Bird had a badass freaking series.
We did look at that in the legacy breakdown.
Huh?
I said we did look at that in the
and we had Tragic Johnson's here. Like, people have had these situations. It's just the way that it happened. It's like, bro, you literally were talking so much. It's not one, not two, and then you lose to the underdog. Like,
they were a huge favorite. I'll have the betting odds on the screen.
Yeah,
but they were a huge fucking favorite.
And Dirk just gave him the whipping.
Yeah,
we was loving it.
Big time. He was a fucking he
heated him up.
He went from maybe a top 50 player all time to definite top 30. I'm not saying that. I'm not giving an all-time list right now, but he became a legend from this. Yeah, for sure.
This season alone made him a legend.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because think about it. When we talk about greatest seasons ever, like when we talked about AI and stuff, like, and then we forget about it, and then I brought up Dirk, like, you didn't even question it. You were like, "You're right," like, because it's like. Yeah. This is
I did.
You can't argue that. Like, he had no reason winning this championship.
No.
Like, looking at this team.
He had no reason getting to the finals. This was a stacked West.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. He went through the toughest of the tough.
Yeah.
And he just played out of his fucking mind. Like, God was in his body and saying, "You got this, German boy."
And defensively, Dwayne Casey, who will definitely be coming up at in a later season. Dwayne Casey had what LeBron would call in later years the perfect game plan to stop him. What he said, not me. His quote, not mine. which just like you said involved a lot of zone and a lot of we are not going to let these guys get to the basket, and we are going to have precise passing.
That's such bullshit. Like that's cap. I'm calling cap on that right now because the only reason he's saying that is because they're like, well, you can't say anything because the best series that anyone's ever played against me was the 2011 finals. But then the way he like countercaps that is I beat the shit out of Toronto for like 8 years. Like that's what he wanted really. Yeah, fuck yo.
But hold on, we got almost 10 years before that.
That's controlling the narrative though. That's what we talk about when LeBron controls his narrative. That's little shit like that. All right, but let's keep on.
But LeBron in game 4, right? We talked about game 2 where they had the that was from footage from game 4. Another close game on paper, but LeBron absolutely horrific.
Yeah.
Right? 3 of 11, 8 points, scoreless in the fourth quarter.
Only took
no shot.
One shot, no free throw. That means he only And the thing about this, and this is just fun, like for a younger viewer who probably wasn't even watching at this point, maybe I don't know. But when I was watching this as a LeBron hater, I truly, no lie, was expecting at some point it was gonna click. I'm like, there's no way that he's not gonna be LeBron at some point and it's gonna be over. Like I was expecting him to win his first championship this year.
Sure.
And when it wasn't happening, I couldn't believe it. Like I was like,
a lot of people couldn't.
Yeah.
It was very satisfying though for a lot of people to watch.
Yeah, especially me. It's like I never thought I'd become a Dirk fan after what he did to me just a couple of weeks ago, but fuck it.
When it definitely helped Dirk that he went against the most hated team of the era too, like to do his legendary shit.
Bro,
like,
and then
everything, like you said, like it was so satisfying. So people like you ended up being like, Dirk, you fucking beast. Thank you.
He beat 2 top 10 players of all time, and at minimum top 10.
Yeah.
And 4 probably top 30, 25 players all time. Like that's crazy. That's the biggest feat of, and no other superstar could say that they did that.
What do you think?
And it was without help. It's I mean, without another superstar with him.
Yeah.
That's the part that's the craziest shit. Like,
yeah, nobody else. I don't think anybody else had over 20. Jason Terry had an amazing series though.
Yeah, he was wild.
18, 30 minutes for him is like,
and that's why he got
crazy.
dunked on.
I feel like he was splashing from 3. He only made 11 of 28 from 3 in that series. Like it felt like he was wilding from 3.
Yeah, but look, Jason Kidd, 12 threes. It was so much. Deshaun Stevenson. The way people are shooting threes, like this would be done in like 2 games, let alone the whole series. You know what I mean? But
Steph's done that in 1 game alone.
Yeah, that's true. I've seen him legitimately shoot 6 of 18 in a game from 3, at least once. Steph.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, and that's a bad game too.
Oh, I mean, yeah. But did the Mavs win this or did the Heat lose it?
And
yes,
yes. I think the Mavs won it, and the reason I'm gonna say that is because, like, going obviously from the beginning, what we said from the very beginning, there was a flaw in their system where you relied on transition offense and lockdown defense, and the Mavs exploited that through. I think it would have been a tough series for LeBron anyways, but LeBron not playing like himself kind of does fuck it up a little bit. But I think you can't blame the Mavs for that. I think the Mavs did.
No, you can't. I agree.
And Dirk played out of his mind. Like that's the reason I give it to Dallas more so. But it's close though, because if LeBron plays like himself, you could argue the series at least goes to what did it go to, 6?
Yes.
At minimum goes to 7.
So
or the Heat win. Probably, maybe.
So, like, let's say he gets to, remember the numbers in the Celtic game? Let's say he gets to 22 a game, right? For the Celtics series a few years ago, or the year prior.
Yeah.
Right? If he gets to there, maybe it's a 7-game series. Maybe. I'm not saying definitely, but
yeah,
it's that, because these games are within 10 points, a lot of them. So
and Dirk he was sick one of those games too.
Yeah.
So that plays a role too. We can't take away from that. And then he had like a crazy overtime win, like in one of those games where I remember he does the spin off on Bosch and makes the left-handed layup. Like,
oh yeah,
like for the game.
That was the closing. Wasn't that the closing game where he did that? Nah,
I think it might have been game 5.
Yeah,
I think it might have been.
I know it was towards the end of the series. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was game 5 or 4, one of the two. But yeah, he definitely. I mean, the way Dirk played, you can't take it away from him. I think he played out of his mind for that whole playoff run.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and it's still obviously it tarnishes that's one of the biggest things. Like, that's what everyone holds against LeBron is like this series, like, and it's because you never really seen any superstar do this, like in that capacity. Like you don't talk all that shit, and then when it's time to like win your championship, you just totally are out of it. You're out of it, and it looked like you almost like you were scared. Like that, it almost looked like you were scared of the moment.
Yep.
Because like we've seen, even with Bird, I'm sure he probably had that 8-point game, but I'm sure he was chucking. Like Kobe's had bad games, but he's chucking. Sure, that people could look at that, all right, they're inefficient or whatever, but that shows that you still you want to win. Like, you have that urge and that desire to like win this game. Like,
right.
Like, maybe you don't have it that night or whatever, but you're trying. Like,
LeBron just shelled up. Like, when the going got tough, he got going.
And I want a warrior. I want a guy who's gonna fight, who's gonna win this fucking game for me and go for it. Like,
and not only that, because of Boston and what had happened the year before, like, it was just like adding to that, in my opinion.
But I never once thought that he quit on Boston when I was watching. Like that, I mean, like, maybe I'm weird about it. It's like, I remember, because all I remember going into that, and I was remember I've been watching LeBron for a couple of years at this point. Yeah. I saw what happened with the Magic, and he went crazy against the Magic. I remember he had like a 30, 40-point triple-double or some shit, and he still lost the game against the Magic. And I'm like, this guy, I don't like this guy that much, but you can't blame him on the loss. And it's like,
but that's not what he did against Boston. He didn't do any of that shit.
Look at his stats against Boston. He put up stats. He definitely. When someone fucked your mom, like someone fucked my mom, I'm done. I'm fucked that. I don't care what anybody says. I gave you 27, whatever. Then I find out this dude fucked my mom. I'm like, yo, fuck this team and fuck this city. I don't care no more. I'm leaving. Like, we humans at the end of the day. I'm not bitching about that. Like, if I fuck my mom and I'm playing ball, I'm like, I'm not playing ball no more. Like, that's not what we talking about. Like, this is life now.
How do you exist if no one doesn't ever fuck your mom?
My teammate, like, this is my boy. Like, it's supposed to be my boy. Hell no. I'm knocking that little freaking crackhead ass out. And I would knock him if I was LeBron, he would have been done. For
Moms
sure.
Moms need love too.
That's a fact, but not my friend's love.